Today, I'm going to show you how you can set up Shopify managed billing for your public Shopify apps built on Gadget. Okay, let's start setting up managed billing for my Gadget app. I'm just going to go to gadget.new and create a new Shopify app. Call this managed billing demo. I'm just going to build this in TypeScript, and Gadget will create my full stack app for me. So that's Postgres, Node, and React in my front end, all serverless, all scaled by Gadget. I'm going to start by setting up my Shopify connection. So I'll connect to Shopify. Because this is billing, it's for Shopify public apps. So I'm going to set up connection through the partners dashboard. I'm going to create my new partners app. I will call this managed billing demo as well. Managed billing demo. And I will copy my client ID and secret back to Gadget here. And press continue. So here I'm going to select what API scopes and data models I need for my application. I'm just going to pretend I need the product read scope. I need to select something so that I can properly go through Shopify's OAuth. And then once I've selected all of these scopes and models I need for my actual app, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. We have some public app resources. I'm going to want the Shopify app subscription model. Shopify is going to go ahead and create these app subscriptions for me. And you notice when I selected this, we are going to automatically subscribe to these webhooks, which will be handy. I'm also going to select Shopify app model, and that's just so I can get my app handle easily. You can also just hard code it. I'll get to that in a bit. It's not necessary, but you can go ahead and do that if you want to. I'm happy with this. This is all I need. So I'll just press confirm. I'm going to copy my URL and redirection URL back to my partners app, just so I can kind of finish up this part of my connection. Save and release. Now, if you've seen any other Gadget videos, normally what I do now is maybe fill out the protected customer data access form and then install in a shop. And in just a couple minutes, we've got our full stack Shopify app embedded in the admin, ready to go. I'm not going to do that quite yet. I want to set up managed billing first. So I'm going to go back to my app overview in the partners dashboard and choose my distribution. And I'm going to select public. Once again, managed billing only available for public apps. So I'll select that public distribution. Now, at this point, I'm going to manage my submission. Throughout this process, getting to this page, if you haven't set up and paid a one-time fee to Shopify, you may need to do that. So if you see a page where Shopify is prompting you to enter some information, pay them a one-time fee so you can list apps on their store. Don't be surprised. We've just already done it on this account. What I need to do to set up managed billing once I get to this App Store review page is choose my primary listing language. There isn't a billing tab here that's visible. It was a little confusing. So you have to choose your primary language and then go ahead and create your listing content. And you notice you get a big red banner. Where the heck are my pricing details? You can click on pricing details and we can go ahead and start creating our plans. So you notice that managed pricing is now selected by default, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to add a plan. We'll call it basic. We'll give it a monthly charge of $10 or a yearly discount of $100. I'm not going to do free trials right now, but you do have the option to enter a value. And we need a redirect URL, and we'll get to that in a minute. First, I'm going to go ahead and create another plan called Pro. Monthly charge, let's go 25, $250 yearly price. And once again, this needs a redirect URL. So there are a couple options for redirect URLs, and we can pop open Shopify's documentation to take a peek here. Click on redirect URLs. So you can redirect using a relative path to a route in your app. If you just want to redirect to a welcome page, you can go ahead and do that. You'll notice that Shopify is sending along a chargeId URL parameter that you can then use. I'm instead going to redirect to a backend route in Gadget and then redirect to my admin front end. And this is just so I can store this chargeId on my shop model temporarily. How this is going to work is I'm just going to flip back to Gadget. When I install or a merchant installs my app on their store, we're going to go ahead, run this install action, create a Shopify shop record here in my Gadget app. And once that merchant has successfully paid through the managed payment system, Shopify is going to create an app subscription, and we'll get the app subscriptions. And they're going to be automatically linked to my shop model. That relationship already exists. You see, there it is, shop. In the event that there is a delay in the webhook that fires this create action, if my subscription isn't created here in my Gadget database, because this webhook is delayed, we're left with a bit of an issue because we've got a shop who has paid. We don't know they've paid in Gadget database. So you can do a couple things. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to temporarily store a chargeId. I'm going to clear out this chargeId once I get a valid app subscription, but this will just be something that lets me know that, yes, this merchant has paid. Something else you can do is from your front end, you can go ahead and call an action in Gadget and then make a manual request to the app subscription endpoint if you want to see if any data exists for a shop. That seems like more work than it's worth. You can also, as an alternative, redirect to a front end route in your app. You can do a real-time query in Gadget and listen for any incoming app subscriptions and then give your merchants access to the full app. This will just give them instant access, and then we'll clean up that chargeId once the app subscription comes in, and we will be all happy. So I think this is a good approach, but there are other ways to do this. Let's go ahead and handle this redirect URL first. So I'm going to go into my API folder in Gadget and just create a new routes folder. This is my app backend, and Gadget is built on top of Fastify, so I can create a get billing callback. Get billing callback must be a valid identifier, not in actions in routes. Let's try this again. Get billing callback. Did I put a .ts? I bet I didn't put a .ts. Anyways, here is our route file. I'm going to get some query parameters. Once again, according to Shopify's docs, we'll have that chargeId. We'll also get the shop domain. I'm just going to add some custom types here first. So this is all just coming straight from Fastify. And we will have a shop as part of our query. It will be a string, and we will have a chargeId, and it will also be a string. Fantastic. Now I can go ahead, get my chargeId and my shop from my request.query. Awesome. So I've got my query parameters from my request. Now what I can go ahead and do is get the shop information I need to complete my redirect and check to see if I have an active app subscription. So there can be a bit of a race where maybe the webhook for my app subscription comes in before this redirect is kind of finished calling. If that's the case, I don't want to store the chargeId at all. So I'm just going to grab some information from my shop, and I'm going to use this API client to do that. So I'll go const shop redirect. I'm also going to grab information to redirect. If I can spell it, redirect info equals await API.shopify shop, and we're going to go find first. I'm going to get rid of this extra space because it's driving me wild. And first I'm going to add a filter condition. I want to make sure I'm grabbing the correct Shopify shop record. So I'm just going to get the domain and make sure it equals shop. And that's the parameter coming from my query here. And then I can go and add a select. And I want to only select certain fields on my shop record. I'm going to get the ID of my shop. I'm going to get this installed via API key field. I'm going to then grab app subscriptions. We can check to see if my webhook came in before this redirect is finished calling. I'm just going to check my status of app subscription. So if there's an active app subscription for my store, I don't want to go ahead and store the chargeId. And that's what we're going to check next. So we'll go if shop redirect info .app subscriptions .edges .every. So we need to check them all because it is a list. And we will do app sub .node.status, and I am just going to check to see if they are not equal to active. So if there are no active subscriptions, I can go ahead and save the charge ID on my shop model temporarily. And I'll go api.internal.shopify shop.update. I need to pass the ID of my current Shopify store. That's why I'm grabbing it in my redirect info. And then I can update charge ID with charge ID. So this will go ahead, store that charge ID on my shop record. And once again, this is just going to be a string field. Finally, I can do my redirection back to my admin app. Await, we'll go reply.redirect. This is just a Fastify reply. You can see there. Check out Fastify's docs for more information. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy paste the route. I won't type all this out. And so what this will do, just redirect to my admin the root route for my app front end. So that's great. There are a couple little things we can do before we get to the front end. What I actually want to do first is I've got my route. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. This is my development environment, and I'm going to add it to my plans. You can add different routes if you want to, which is kind of nifty. And I will save that. So now I have Shopify's managed billing set up and my plans are saved. And for now, I will just go back to the overview page. Excellent. So I'm ready to install almost. I did mention before, we may want to go ahead and clean up those charge IDs if we end up setting them. And so I want to go ahead and do that when I get my app subscription. I'm just going to add this to my create action. You may also want to add it to your update and check for alternative statuses. I'm just looking for active for now. But I'm going to go if record.status is equal to active. So if this is a new active subscription, I'm going to go, once again, use my internal API, update my Shopify shop record, and this will be record.shopId. And I will just go charge ID is null. So, this is going to whine, I think, because it wants a string. Give it a little stringy there. Perfect. So this will go ahead and clear out that charge ID just to make sure it's not lingering around. What this prevents is if I keep that charge ID and I'm using it to check in my front end if a shop has an active subscription and they uninstall, once they uninstall, I'm actually not going to get the latest app subscription records because as soon as they uninstall, webhooks from that store stop. If there's a charge ID, they reinstall, they could get access to my app without paying, which isn't ideal. So I'm going to do a couple things to try and negate this. This is the first one. The second thing I can do is go ahead and actually sync the latest app subscription records when a merchant installs on my store, and particularly in the reinstall action in my Shopify shop. So in order to make sure I get, hey, do you know what? They have already installed and uninstalled, so their subscription is canceled. I want to make sure I get that up-to-date information here in my Gadget app. I won't get it via webhook, so I'm going to go ahead and sync that data. So I'm going to go await api.shopify sync.run. So we'll run a new data sync, and I will go domain, and this is going to be my record.domain. And I need to link this sync to my shop, and this will just be my record ID. And then I'm only going to sync certain models. I don't want to sync all of my data here. You may want to sync additional data as part of this. I am just going to go and specify my Shopify app subscription. I can also, if I want, this might be where I sync my Shopify app data. I'm not going to do that right now. I can also copy this and run it in my install action. And here it might be where I want my Shopify app. And we'll once again get to that in just a minute. So this will sync my latest app subscriptions when a merchant installs or reinstalls my app. And this should make sure I have the latest up-to-date information so I can determine whether or not I need to redirect them to the billing page. And that's where we are now, is that we can go to my front end, and I'm just going to add some logic in my index. Ultimately, you might want to set up a React provider so you can run this check across multiple routes. But I'm just going to check to see, does this merchant have an active subscription? If not, redirect them to the billing page. So I'm going to go ahead and import use find first hook from Gadget Inc. React. This just allows me to call that find first API in a nice Reactful way. And then I am going to go ahead and import the use effect hook. And this is where I'm actually going to run my check. So let's start with my use find first. I'm going to fetch my store data, and I just want to check to see, is there a charge ID or an active app subscription? If not, redirect. So let's get that data from my store first. I'm going to go const, and I really just need data. There's also fetching and error information here. I'm not going to worry about that right now though. We'll go use find first API. Once again, API client is already set up for you in the front end. And similar to our other queries, I'm going to select only certain fields. So I want my shop domain, there we go, true. I want my charge ID, and I want my app subscriptions. And this is, once again, because this is a list, it's going to look very similar, if not identical, to the selection we made before. So this will grab my active app subscriptions. And that's all I need to do. When this request is complete, I will have data. If you want to show some sort of loading spin or something, you can also use fetching. I'm not going to do that now. Finally, in my use effect hook, data will be my dependency. That is just going to be my returned shop data. And here is where I can once again check to see, is there a charge ID and active app subscription? If not, redirect. I'm going to go ahead, go if, let's just check to see, hey, does data exist? And if there is not a charge ID, and if there is not an active app subscription, so we'll go data, app subscriptions, edges, every app sub. And once again, this looks the exact same as our check in the redirect. Status not equal to active. And if not, we want to redirect. So first I'm going to get my store handle. And this is why I grabbed my domain information before. I'm just splitting this, kind of cheating, but that's okay. This works. It's going to complain because of the nulls. That's okay. This is going to get my store handle. It'll be useful for my redirect URL. We'll go const redirect URL equal to, and I will just copy and paste this. And here we go. Boom, there's my redirect URL. I've got my store handle already. This isn't my app handle, their app name. This is my app handle. This is what I was talking about previously, where I can grab this from my Shopify app model if I want. Here it is, handle, it's a field. You'll notice that the actions for this model though are sync only. There's no webhooks to supply this information. And that's why we're syncing it in our install action here. So if I want to make a separate query from my front end to grab that handle, I can go ahead and do that. I can also set it as an environment variable in Gadget if I want. I'm going to hard code it, guys. I'm just going to go managed billing demo. Now this is the handle in my Shopify partner dashboard. So it's my partner's handle. If you want to change this handle, you can do so with the TOML files and the Shopify CLI. I'm just hard coding it for now. Finally, we need to actually do our redirect. So that'll just be redirecting through the window. We are in iframe, so we want to make sure we use parent. And then we go location dot href equals redirect URL. And we should be good to go. So let's go ahead. I'm going to install my app on a store. I'll also test out uninstalling and reinstalling. So I'm going to select a store. We'll go Riley. Big store, much product. Great name. So when I install, I should be redirected to my billing page right away. Perfect. So this is the hosted billing page that Shopify is building for me. If I have more details entered in that partner's dashboard page, they'll also appear here. What's the difference between my plans? I'm not going to do that. I am just going to go ahead and select one of my plans to pay for. It'll approve. It'll call that backend callback route in Gadget. It'll either store the charge ID or the webhook will come in with my app subscription. So if I go check out, like, hey, I'm paid, I'm in my app now right away. That's fantastic. If I go check out Gadget, I've got my shop data. There's no charge ID, which means I have my app subscription. It is active. We're good. We're happy. let's try uninstalling this and we can see what happens. So when I uninstall, I am now uninstalled. You'll notice that my app subscription, it's going to remain active. And that's because when I uninstall, I stop getting webhooks from that shop. So holy smokes, how do I handle this? This is why in our uninstall action, in our reinstall action, we're going to run our sync and grab the latest app subscription so that I can see like, oh no, we'll update that data. We'll see, oh, the plan is canceled, redirect to the billing page. So let's do that again. Go back to my partner's dashboard. Select the same store. Big store, much product. This is a reinstall. It's going to go ahead, sync those app subscriptions, and I should once again be redirected to my billing page. Beautiful. Now I can go ahead, set up my monthly pro plan. And I'm in. That's fantastic. Let's take one more look at Gadget, see what happened here. Once again, no charge ID is being stored. That's okay because my subscription data is up to date. And you see, this is where we have 2 subscriptions for the same store. And you see this one is now canceled. That's what allowed us to be redirected to that billing page again. And I've got my active pro subscription. So this was a basic overview. Once again, there are some places you can go with this. You may want to implement a free trial if you want. You may want to set up a provider in the front end so that you don't need to copy and paste and repeat these checks all over the place. You can just do that at a provider level and then give yourself a simple Boolean to check like, yep, they've paid, or nope, they need to be redirected. If you have any questions about any of this, I'm going to include some links in the docs, including to our developer Discord, where we're happy to answer questions, Shopify's managed billing documentation, as well as a useful link for getting set up. I found the base documentation wasn't as useful as it could have been, so there are a couple links to some help threads that helped me get started, so I want to share those as well. Thanks for watching. I hope you keep building more and coding less with Gadget.